Hey lovelies, welcome back to JayeRated. In case you're new here, my name is Jaye. I rate TV shows, movies, and books that have caught my eye or that I've been following for quite some time now. So I hope you've got your snacks ready and your cups are full. Let's get into it. So, since I've started, I've been covering Love Island Games Season 2. I am on episode 5, technically. They listed it as episode 6. I was like, what the hell? But then I remembered after sun. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's start with Lucinda and Mert. Okay, Lucinda was giving him a little bit of a cold shoulder, a little bit of frostiness when he stopped showing a little bit of attention. I'm being honest. Like he didn't bring her morning coffee, and she was pressed by it. And I think honestly, it's kind of easy for her too because the other girls are, they're getting breakfast. I mean, Andrea got 2 breakfast plates. They're getting coffee. The guys are showing little romantic gestures, and she felt left out, honestly. So Mert was looking for her the next morning, and she was giving him a little bit of the cold shoulder. She didn't really want to talk to him, um, even though he was, trying to show, you know, effort in his way. Kendall actually pulled him to the side. They had a conversation, and he let him know that, hey, like if you want Lucinda, you're gonna have to do a little bit more because that's the type of girl that she is. Lucinda and Kendall know each other on the outside, so he does know her a little more than Merritt does. So that was a little bit of Merritt insight, a little bit of insight from Merritt, which then gave them the idea to do like a nice little romantic scene on the dock. They even got some sand from the beach and like spread it out on the dock to make it look, I guess, a little more romantic. I'm sure production was probably like, "What in the hell are they doing?" Because they have to have somebody to clean that up. I'm sure the Islanders aren't doing it, or maybe they are. Uh, Nonetheless, it was a cute little moment, and we also got to hear and learn a little bit more about Merritt. He said he doesn't, give his full self to someone right away when he's getting to know them, and I think that may have reassured Lucinda a little bit, and made her like him a little more. Then we have Andrea and Toby slash Josh. So Andrea and Toby are coupled up with each other. He picked her in the last episode to be coupled up with. And it seems like they may be getting along pretty well. It seems like Andrea is enjoying like their conversations because they're a lot more lighthearted. Toby is very cheeky, um, and he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think she's really enjoying that. She even mentioned that in her conversation with KK. She and Josh are still kind of getting to know each other romantically, but she was kind of comparing Josh and Toby, saying that, her conversations with Josh are a lot more serious and kind of like more focused on the game as opposed to, you can see with her conversations with Toby. They're just very fun. They're just getting to know each other. And it seems like she may be leaning more toward him. Then we have Andreina and Johnny. Andreina is basically saying now that she's done with Ty. How he's been moving in the villa, and I'm sure even how he's kind of been speaking about her, after the challenges, has turned her off to him. And so it looks like, her eyes are more focused on Johnny now. And we're even seeing a more serious side of Johnny, like Johnny 2.0. And I think I might be here for it. He's saying that he, is looking to find a serious connection. He wants to be more of a role model and figure for his daughter, and so maybe Andreina may be able to reap the benefits of this new Johnny. It's admirable to hear, but I want to see if his actions match his words later down the line, okay? Speaking of Ty, my guy is moving like a madman in the villa, okay? So when he found out he was vulnerable, he just thought, you know what? I'm going to treat my next day like it's my last day and I'm going balls to the wall, okay? We saw him having a conversation with Justine in this episode. And I think Justine may have clocked him, moving a little crazy because, she even mentioned, you're having chats with Andrina, you're kissing KK. Now you want to really get to know me. I mean, it is still early days, as my UK babes would say. But I get her being wary. She did say that she is interested in Tyrique, and Chris as well. But I think, you know, she should definitely take what Ty is saying with a grain of salt. We didn't see a ton of Chris and KK interacting this episode. We saw a little bit of Nicola being down about not having a strong connection in the villa, which I'm sure is difficult for her. Getting to see the other islanders starting to build on their connections, and getting to know each other more romantically. I'm sure that is hard to see. And then we also got to see just a little bit of Isaiah and Solene. They had a little bit of a flirty chat, but we didn't get to see too much from them either. I will say in this episode, you can really see how the games aspect of Love Island games is starting to affect the Islanders. Seems like they're all starting to get a little more paranoid. They're starting to second guess other people's motives or even their couple. And so, of course, when Ariana comes in, they are a little shook because they don't know what's next. Tyrique even joked that they don't give Ariana any days off because they've seen her every night since they've been in the villa. So Ariana came in to announce America's vote. She started with the Safe Islanders, who was Andreina and Johnny. I did vote for them because I want Johnny to stay in the game. I really feel like he could definitely win. Honestly, I kind of want him to win. Is that bad for me to say? Um, that I'm rooting for a guy, right? But I am. Anyway, Ariana announces who is safe first. And that was Johnny and Andreina. And Andreina was actually shocked, bless her heart. She was actually crying a little bit when she found out they were safe. And I love how Johnny kind of, like comforted her. Um, you know, it was just really sweet to see, as well as Tyrique and Lucinda being safe. So that left Mert and Solene, Toby and Andrea, and Isaiah and Nicola, all at risk. And so Ariana brings them a little gift for being vulnerable, in which they all had to pick one. And in those little gift boxes were hearts. So either a pink or a black heart. Pink represented being safe, and the black, of course, you're getting dumped, babe. And so the Islanders got to choose whether or not they wanted to basically let the boxes decide their fate or reveal America's vote, and whomever got the least votes would be dumped from the island. And so majority won. Both Nicola and Isaiah and Mert and Solene did not want to open their boxes. So, America's vote decided who would be going home. But of course, the producers got to let them see what was inside of the box. So, had they chose to open the box, Nicola and Isaiah would have been dumped. But since they chose not to, the Islanders with the least votes went home, and that was Mert and Solene, which honestly I was not surprised by. I didn't think they would get that many votes. They were a friendship couple, and they weren't really performing that well together um, in the challenges. So I wasn't really shocked by that. I will say though, it was a little sad to see them go. Solene was a little emotional because she wasn't ready to go home this early in the game, and so was Mert. But he did say that he believes in fate, and so, you know, since he chose not to open the box, he believed that him going home was meant to be. But he was very cute and like poetic at the end with Lucinda saying that he believed that love does not have a language, which is why they were able to connect with each other. And I did think that was so cute. And so, of course, you have two islanders walking out the door and two more bombshells coming in the very next day. They just kind of teased that for us, so we don't know who they are, just that we have two coming in. And I will say, I think this episode was a little on the chiller side. It wasn't as chaotic as the first couple of episodes that we've gotten, and I felt like that was needed. Um, I would J-rate this episode an 8. I think it wasn't like top tier um, craziness, but I felt like it was a good watch. um, and I didn't find myself like wanting to scroll on my phone while I was watching it. Until next time, keep your snacks ready and your cups full. Cheers, babes.